advantage of it, and I made like 15 grand in 2 days. And I was just like, all right, this shit works. It just, sometimes you have slumps, you have to wait it out. And that's basically what was, my turnaround point right there was I hit a good trade. The pattern showed up. I traded it, and I traded it correctly. And I didn't even trade it correctly. I traded it from like 95 cents up to $1.20 per share. So it could have been huge. But, when you get into those down slumps, and for new traders, it's kind of difficult because if they don't have a strategy that they really know works, or have been doing this for a while, that's on a whole nother level of trying to figure out what should I do. But for me, it was just finally seeing that trade pop up and actually taking advantage of it, and that was a turnaround. And just understanding that patterns that you trade aren't there. And so you can only do what you can, and focus on risk management rather than focus on I need to make money right now. Rather focus on preserving capital. Like I said, now I've been more and more focused on staying flat or forward with my portfolio, not allowing that drawdown. Like I had a $25,000 drawdown on my account, which for me was a big deal. Like I had an awesome first couple months of the year. Next thing you know, I had this huge dip of about 25 grand over the course of like 2 months where I was just slowly chipping away. And at that, now to get back to break even, I got to make up for that $25,000. So my focus a lot lately is not even getting close to having any drawdowns. Maybe a little bit, but rather than if there's a slow time like the last month, the market completely ate shit. A lot of people might ask me like, oh man, the market just ate shit over the last 3 weeks. You probably lost a lot of money. Like, no, I didn't lose anything. And then the market all of a sudden snapped back to the upside the last 2 weeks. They're like, oh man, you must have made a shitload of money. No, I actually really didn't make anything that time either. It's been a very chaotic market for the last month and a half. So during these kind of chaos periods, while there are opportunities to make money, I focus on capital preservation over anything rather than just being diehard, I need to make money right now. So I wait for the patterns to pop up and I trade them. Like I said, between about November through March is typically, historically, when I make probably 70 to 80% of all my money. So it's really just understanding that there are downturns in the market and being able to not lose your ass during that when there's those tough times, is being just understanding that you got to roll with the punches here.
Right on. So guys, and how I deal with slumps is essentially this. I track everything I do. Every single thing I do. So I track, just like an athlete, I believe that building a trader is the same process as it would be building an Olympic athlete or a professional athlete. That you have to track data for all sorts of things. So what I do is I track data for every single type of setup I trade, when I trade, what hour of day I trade, all of that type of stuff. So when I go in a slump and my game is off, there are 2 or 3 setups that I have an 80% plus win ratio. Okay, and I have money setups that I trade that I have 40% plus, 40% win ratio. So it's a big difference, right? So when I get in a slump, what I do is I simplify what I'm trying to do and narrow it down into the setups that I trade the best, that I have a statistical probability of having success on this trade, and that's what gets me out of the slump, because I know if I take 3 or 4 trades in the setups that are my go-to setups, my money-making setups that I know I win a majority of the time, then I won't be able to keep my slump up, because I'm trading stuff that is mine. It's my go-to setup. This is my old faithful. Everybody needs a slump buster. That setup that you can lean on when times get rough. And if you don't have that, your trading is fucked, because you don't have anything to rely on. I mean, to really do this every single day Everybody's got to have a go-to girl. Your ride or die girl. You got to ride dirty sometimes, but everybody needs a ride or die girl. And so you got to have your go-to setup. So Fous, you got like your 4 Fous patterns. Like, what's your go-to pattern? Like, I know you because I've seen you bust out of slumps. You tend to go with a couple different things, and you stick to it.
Yeah, like I said, it's the gold pattern. It's the dollar roll. Once the dollar rolls start rolling around and they actually work, you can make a quick 20 to 100% in a week or two. I typically never hold it that long, all the way up to $2 per share. I've actually never held a gold pattern from $1 to $2 per share, but I've traded many of them over the last 10 years. I just have never had that patience. I think the longest I held was like $1 up to like $1.70 before, but having that patience is very difficult. But that's when I make my most money, is when the dollar gold patterns come around, and I can load up 10 to 30,000 shares at $1, sell it into the 120s or 130s, and make a crap load of money in a very short amount of time. So that's like my go-to setup when those do happen. But there's really only about once a year when you see those really start working out well. And that's typically between November and March, which is coming up right around the corner. So we'll see. The market's pretty chaotic right now. It's kind of hard to say how we're going to be rolling into this part of the year.
Rock and roll. All right, let's get to these questions. Let's get to some of these questions that people have, Cam. So a lot of people are asking, what brokers do you use, and do you ever short some of these penny stocks?
Hold on, I'm sitting in a Snapchat here of our live webinar.
Snapchat? I thought that was for kids.
I use Snapchat every day, bro.
Really? See, you don't Snapchat other dudes, though, do you? That's weird.
No, well, I mean, a lot of people think like Snapchat's just for fucking nudie pics, but it's not. It's 90% of the, more than 90% of the time, anybody I'm Snapchatting, it's like 99% of the time, anybody I'm Snapchatting or anybody Snapchatting me is just us bullshitting about doing something goofy, or we're partying somewhere, or just like I just Snapchatted everybody on my list of us doing this live webinar. So that's not a dick pic. It's just me Snapchatting what's going on right now. So it's more of like I like Snapchat over anything because a lot of times it's real-time shit. It's not like a filter, pic of some girl doing a selfie with like a bunch of filters making her look, like $1 million when that's really not what she looks like. It's like,
man, you can make anybody look hot with Instagram, man. I've learned this lesson. Let me tell you, I've learned this lesson a very hard way. Those filters can make anybody look hot. They can make me look like I have hair. I mean, literally, you can do anything with those freaking filters. Yeah. Now, the question is, what brokers do you like? Do you ever short penny stocks?
I do use Speed Trader for like the last 4 or 5 years, and that's been my go-to trading broker. But they actually just upped up their minimum deposit, I think, to like $15,000 because they didn't want to deal with all the people with smaller accounts. So that's why we have ClickFund through you as well. That is good for people with smaller accounts. But shorting, I short every once in a while. Speed Trader Pro actually just opened up a new brokerage firm, speedtraderpro.com, and they're kind of like Centerpoint Capital. I think I still haven't opened an account, but I've been debating opening up an account with them just to focus a little more on shorting stocks. Because a lot of times Speed Trader won't have stocks that I want to short. But predominantly I've always been a bull trader, always on the long side. I think I remember I was trading with you, or we were bullshitting, and I had one really big losing short. I lost like $4 or $5 grand on like
Heat.
What was it?
Heat.
Yeah, it was something. And after that, I was like, I'm done.
Heat and CLNT, they both were going. They were up like 200% that day, but the float was freaking so low. It was really hard to time.
They're already up huge, and then I continually added to my position, and then I was down so much, and then I finally just cut my loss and said, screw it, I'm done shorting. And then I literally didn't make a short trade for about a year after that. And then slowly I've been kind of grinding back into shorts lately. But my strategy is always, the Fous strategy has always been long, no matter what the market's doing. And that's what I know that works. It's the only thing that's worked for me consistently. I've tried, Tim Sykes' shit. I think his strategy sucks. I've tried Investors Live, just following my Twitter. I don't know what he's talking about half the time because I can't follow the shorting shit. So
Yeah, you got to do your own. Like Nate's an amazing trader. He really is.
you gotta find your own niche that works for you and stick with
You got
it.
to know what he's doing. And that's, so you got to stick with what you know.
Yeah. So, and that's what I do. And that's where I found my success is doing what I know, the Fous 4 strategy. And so when I try to step off that path is typically when I start making unnecessary losses. So, but I do short every once in a while.
Cool. A couple of people asked when you were showing your charts, what were those moving averages that you were showing?
The main moving average that I base a lot of my trading off is a 13 EMA, and that can work for any time frame that you're looking at. So I'll look at the 13 EMA on the daily chart, as well as I'll look at it on the 1-minute chart, 2-minute chart, 5-minute chart. It's just basically a short-term trend indicator.
Cool. My man Mula is asking.
I wish I could see the chat. I don't know why the hell I can't see the chat over here.
Well, there's a button that you're supposed to click, and it'll show up on your right side, but it might just.
It does. I wrote in there. I said testing, but it's just me in here.
Shit! Now I turned my chat off. Hold on. Oh, there it is. Let's see here. Cameron, when did you turn around your trading from losing money to actually consistently making money? Man, I got the freshest fade today. You like that, Cam?
Yeah, good haircut, bro.
That's $8, baby. $8.
Yeah, but no, really, what it came down to for me, and what it comes down to for anyone, like, I can teach anyone. Anybody can go through my Fous 4 training programs and know exactly what I know at that point. But unless you can mentally, be in your head and stick to the rules, you're not going to make it. And that's what it took me, was a shitload of losses over 3 years of finally being like, all right, I can't go all in on some stupid penny stock and try to just, make one big, huge win and try to build my account. You have to take it step by step, piece by piece on a day-to-day basis. You can't swing for the fence on anything, and you can't break the rules of the game. You have to find a strategy that somebody else has done successfully and try to implement it yourself and actually stick to it. Because if you go outside of those rules, one bad trade, you can all of a sudden turn into a downward spiral. Next thing you know, your account's gone and you have to start over. So the biggest for me was, finally getting it in my head that I can't, step outside of that box and try to make any big risky trades. Even though sometimes a lot of people do that and they make one big trade, but whether that's healthy for them or not, it's hard to say, because that might influence them to do that again, and then they wipe everything out. So
never seen a guy make it after one big trade. Never. So, I've seen guys do it. I've seen guys $1 million on a trade. Never seen it have continued success.
Yeah, so you just have to understand that, you have to stick to the rules of the game very, very tightly. And that's what it took for me, was finally to get through my head, like, okay, I know I have a strategy that works. I've been doing this for like 3 years, but I just can't seem to make money because I keep breaking the rules and keep trying to swing for the fence. I'd like buy into a stock on earnings before it, being like, okay, this guy over here thinks that this thing's going to blow up on earnings. The next thing you know, I lose 50% on this stock, and I had like half my portfolio in it. So you can't make those big risks. You can't screw around. You have to stick to the rules. You have to diversify and stay within the boundaries of the game.
Word. Hey, a bunch of people have asked. I got 4 people that have asked. Have you ever used a keto diet rather than maybe paleo or whatever else you're doing?
Keto diet?
Keto, like so I think that's like a no carb, 0 carbs diet. They're like ketosis essentially.
Yeah. No, I've done the ketosis thing. I've bought pea strips to.
That shit sucks, by the way. For anybody that's ever does it.
And you try to test like your ketosis levels, but it's pretty hard to
stick to it.
No, it's pretty difficult. I mean, I still try to stick to no carbs at all, but I mean, I just had a freaking spinach wrapped like thing the other day because I got drunk while we were trying to get this webinar going, and then I wanted a wrap. And so you definitely break the rules all the time. It's just about keeping consistency. But Mainly my diet consists around paleo, but I try to stay away from fruit. Fruit's not necessarily bad for you, but there's a lot of sugar in fruit. So mainly what I try to stick to, like, is this chicken, meats, vegetables, eggs, juicing. I do a lot of juicing. I don't do it myself because but every day I'll go for lunch and get a Super 7 juice, which is carrot, beet, spinach, kale, and cucumber, and a Quest bar. I eat a shitload of Quest bars.
They're so tasty, man. Feels like you're eating dessert.
Yeah, I'm bringing like 3 boxes of Quest bars down to Costa Rica.
I get the cookie dough ones and the cookies and cream ones.
Yeah, those are my top too.
They're so good, though. You literally feel like you're eating freaking cookie dough.
Yeah.
But there's got no sugar in them. I don't understand how it works. I feel like, you ever see that Seinfeld where they're having the the no-fat ice cream, but then they ended up having fat in it and they all gain weight? I feel like those Quest bars are the same exact thing, man. Yeah. We're gonna eat these Quest bars. Next thing you know, we're gonna be like,
yeah, it's blowing up. But no, I eat probably at least 2 Quest bars a day.
A couple of people want to know: Can I make bank trading while managing my schoolwork in high school? Well, this is a really tricky thing.
I mean, that's a hard question to answer because wasn't trading in high school, but it's really about being available during the right time. So a lot of people, that work are, have a 9 to 5 or something, and on the East Coast, or I mean on the West Coast, for me, I trade from about 6:30 a.m. mainly to about 7:30 to 8 a.m. Those are like my primary trading hours. So a lot of people have that time free to trade because if they have a 9 to 5, if they're going to school or whatever, but it's really about being able to have the time available during the certain times that you need to trade. And the market's so quick right now, you have to be there to manage those trades. You can't just set it and forget it kind of stuff. You have to be able to monitor. You have to be on your phone monitoring stuff. So it's really just about your time availability, what time you have to go to school, what time you have class. You can be there for the first hour, or at least the first hour to hour and a half. You can still make money. I could still if I really wanted to, I could only trade the first hour, and that would be it for the entire year. And I would think I would be able to make 6 figures just trading for the first hour of the market and just walking away easily. But I'm sitting at home all day by myself, also running a business, so I'm always at the computer, always tempted to trade and doing all this other stuff. But within the first hour, there's opportunities to make 6 figures for the year, no doubt.
Word. A couple more here. Dun, 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 dun. Since Fous trades penny stocks, can his students trade with the Click Fund? I'll answer that question. They can. Cameron doesn't really trade When I think of penny stocks, I think of OTCs, and I haven't, since I know Cameron, I haven't really. He might, but I haven't seen him really very often trade OTCs or pink sheets much. Cameron, do you do those type of trades?
I 9% of the time never touch an OTC or a pink sheet stock. Back previously, before 2008's debacle of all the financial shit, OTC stocks were actually not that bad. They're tradable. There's lots of patterns that were there, but now the OTC markets are so manipulated and they're so washed up that I don't scan for them whatsoever. I have 0 scans that I look at any OTC stock. The only reason why I would ever notice an OTC stock is if somebody mentioned it to me and said, hey, check this stock out, and I might look at it. So I really only trade stocks on the NASDAQ, Amex, and New York Stock Exchange, which are all major exchanges. Typically only stocks between $1, sometimes upwards. I was trading GoPro today, so I'll trade anything now. I used to be way more focused in the beginning on very low price stocks, but I trade everything as of right now.
Cool. Hey, we got to answer this one because this is one of my favorite students named Winston. He's like the nicest young guy. He's asking, what is it about the market that makes you trade better? What is different about the market during this time of year? And also, have you noticed that 2014 has been more difficult to trade? Like, is it more choppy? And I've noticed this. a lot of people, I've noticed a lot of people say 2014 has been a tricky market to trade. I've actually had my best year, so I'm not sure if it's necessarily the hardest market to trade, but it's been different, I think, for sure, compared to the previous year where the Russell was up 35%.
Yeah.
It's a different market, but it's not necessarily like you can't make money per se. But what do you think about that seasonality question?
I mean, it's hard to say why that. I don't know why this happens, but typically, we always have some kind of Christmas rally or something. But typically between November and March, that's when you see the Fous 4 patterns come to light, and you can actually trade them on a large scale, and they actually have continued runs to the upside. But that's just historically speaking. The market right now, the way that it looks, kind of makes me nervous about going into this season. That's usually my biggest season. The market right now, I don't like the way it looks. So it'll be interesting to see how the market turns out for these next months, just because of the way that the market's reacted over the last month or two. But as far as why they do that during that season, I have absolutely no clue. That's just
what? It happens. My buddy St. Lucci, Lucci. Lucci was telling me, last year he made $2 million, and pretty much like all of it was within like a 3-week span.
Yeah, I remember him talking about that at one point. He's like, I literally make all my money within a month, and that's for the whole entire year. And the rest of the year, he's just kind of chopping around looking for that 1 or 2 big trades.
And for me, I like to grind it. I'm a grinder, so I'll literally take $200, $300 at a time every day of the week, and I don't like having losing days. Like I gotta go and get it, because I know I'm never gonna have like a $20,000, $50,000 trade. It's just not my style.
Yeah,
I go because I'm a day trader. I go and make $400, $500, $600 at a time, and I do it over and over and over. And there are days where I make $10,000 or $12,000, and I have this huge day. And I might have 1 or 2 big trades in there, but it's like I take the base hits. I take the base hits, and I like to win every day. I mean, as a day trader and a hedge fund trader, I have my own hedge fund. It's like, I got to win every day, because that's how hedge fund trader, that's the nature of our beast. So
yeah, it's trading.
Sometimes it's a little bit different for every person. What are your opinions on the market in the next 3 to 6 months?
I mean, I have absolutely zero clue. I mean, this is a question that I get when people ask me, like, hey, what do you think of this stock? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I have no clue what any stock's going to do at any given time, nor does anybody else on this planet. So I refuse to answer those questions, because I'm not psychic, nor is anybody else. The only thing that I know is that I look for Fous 4 patterns, and they either break out and go up, or they don't break, or they break out for a second and they fail, and I sell for a small loss. So that's the only thing I know about trading, is that I identify some patterns. They either work or they don't. If they work, I lock in some profit. If they don't work out, I cut a loss as small as possible. So it's always an if-then statement for me. It's not ever a question of what do I think this stock is going to do.
So a bunch of people asked, what are our win-loss ratios?
Like I said, what I was saying before, I literally lose half the time. My win ratio is only about 51%. So the only reason why I'm able to win is because, like I said, I am extremely disciplined about cutting my loss. If the stock trade does not work out for me, I'll immediately sell that stock, no hesitation, and move on to the next stock, or I'll potentially rebuy that stock. But there's no reason to continually hold on to a losing position. Like I always say to everyone, losing money in the stock market is a choice. The only reason why anybody loses money in the stock market is because they went into a losing position and they chose to continue to hold that losing position as it continues to fall. So everyone has that decision to make once they get into a losing position, to either cut their loss short or continue to hold it and hope and pray that it might come back up. But a lot of times it doesn't, and so a lot of people get on that hope train, and then they lose all their money rather than choosing not to lose. So the only time anybody loses money in the stock market is when they choose to. So
That's true. And the win-loss ratio, I find it doesn't really make that much of a difference because, like, at times my win-loss ratio is like 74%. Like I had 2012, I was a 74% win ratio, but my average gain versus loss was much different than Cameron's. Like where Cameron's average gain might be $2,000 and his average loss is say $200. He's got a 10-to-1 reward to risk ratio. Hypothetically, when I'm batting 74%, all that means is I'm taking a lot of small hits, and then I'm having a lot of small losses. And so, you're not getting the win-loss ratio in terms of your average gain per loss where you need to be, and so your win ratio goes up. Like Cameron probably could win 90% of the time if all he was going to do is take $20 on a trade. Your win ratio doesn't matter as much as your average gain per loss, your reward to risk ratio.
Yeah, so it's different for everybody. All about how you manage your money and what kind of trader you are, what you're looking for when you get into a stock.
Word, bum, 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 bum. A couple of people asked. Whoa!
Bless you, though.
Jeez. A couple of people asked, the patterns do you trade? Are they applicable to larger price stocks like $10 stocks or $20 stocks or whatever?
Yeah, I mean it's applicable to
stocks.
Any price stock. Thing that I notice a lot about larger cap stocks is that the intraday swings are much larger. So you're going to see, a breakout, but it might swing up and swing down. So you're going to see a lot of day trading movement, basically, in larger cap stocks, I feel like. So a lot of times, small cap stocks, I'll buy a stock sometimes at $1. It'll make one quick run up to 10 to 15, $1.10 to $1.15, and I'm in an amount, and I can, that's 15% on my position. So you can apply it to larger cap stocks. I just think they react a little bit differently. They don't happen as fast, I guess, the movements.
Yeah. Hold on. Dun, 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 dun. Do you trade pre-market or aftermarket much?
Not typically. Like I said before, I traded GoPro. Today I bought it at frickin' just below $72, and now it's at $78.80. And I actually lost $500 in that stupid trade because I was going to go to the gym instead of sit here and monitor it. So
that's actually
priorities. That's another thing about working out. You got to make it a priority. So instead of making $5,000, I lost $500 to go to the gym instead. But typically, no, I don't trade AH and after hours pre-market.
Hold on. How often, when you cut your losses quickly, does the stock turn right away and you want to smash your keyboard? Every day? Every day, every minute.
I'll show you a trade right now. Let me screen
every day, every minute.
Every day, every minute. So let me share this. So here's one that I actually did a video lesson on the other day, ARCP. I called the bottom on this thing frickin' perfectly. Unfortunately, I just got a little nervous here and stopped out. So I was looking at ARCP here. What I look for on a stock on a bounce play is typically a stock that's made a major move to the downside. I don't like trying to buy into a stock that had just gapped down at the open and then try to buy it like right away. I like to see a stock that's trending to the downside on the 13 EMA, which is the 1 minute chart here that I'm looking at, and I like to find it when it's basing out at a whole number. So I was looking here at ARCP. We'll back up a little bit here.
Oh, bastard. I was trying to short this fucker, too.
Yeah, see, so I was watching it right here. I was like, all right, this thing is, coming all the way, panic selling off from $9 per share all the way down to $8. And also to bring back of why you got to be disciplined to cutting your losses, a lot of people might think that this is what I look for in a bounce is when it's basing out at a whole number. So you can see here, it's coming down, basing out around 9. You could have scalped that for a bounce. But a lot of people might have thought, hey, it's basing out around 9, or at least how I look at a bounce trade. That might be the bottom. It might rally back to the upside. But it eventually continued to break down and continue to slide. So you have to be disciplined to cut that loss if that trade doesn't work out, or just take the quick scalp. But from here, it came all the way back down within the hour to 8. So at this point, I'm looking at this stock, and I'm thinking, okay, just panic sold off from 9 all the way down to 8 in a short amount of time. We're having two big volume spikes here on the buy side, right at $8 per share. So I got long 2,000 shares. Not a huge position because you really don't know what these stocks are going to do, but I wanted to have a piece of the action. So I got long at 8.10 as soon as it started showing a little bit of sign of action here. And right after this, it had one last quick little sell-off here, and I got a little nervous that it might continue to drop, and I actually sold, I think, right about here at like 7.89. And then I was hesitant. You know, it's sometimes hard to take a quick loss like that, and then while you have a bunch of people watching you in your chat room, just be like, actually, never mind, I'm rebuying it again right now. So I, at this point, didn't really have the confidence to buy back in, but I called it in the right area. I just stopped out a little bit too quickly on this little quick. It was this little stupid candle right there where I had one major big sell-off that I actually stopped out. But I had a lot of students that got into this stock, and from here, based out at 8, and it's ramped all the way up near 9. And basically what I look for, once it does bounce and base off at a whole number, is for it to break back above that 13 EMA on the 1-minute intraday. And then from there, you can just ride that 13 EMA until it breaks down. And as you can see, it did break down right about here, but that's 70 cents you can take advantage of right there on that trade with 2,000 shares. That's what, like $1,400 or something, quick, easy money within, 15 minutes. And then actually it came all the way back up. But, I was sitting here, super pissed off. Like, I just fucking stopped out on lows of the day when I was in right here at 8.10. Next thing you know, up at $9 per share. Same thing with GoPro today. I got in here at frickin', what was it? Zooming forward here. I got in right here, 71.80. It ramped all the way up. I was up like almost $2,000 at 73.70. I stopped out right here and said, screw it, I got to go to the gym. And it bounced right after I sold, and now it's up at 78. I'd be up $6,000 on this trade. So I said fuck a lot today when shit wasn't working.
Yeah, I say it all the time, but.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just part of trading. You have to learn to accept it and understand that you're going to, trading is always woulda, shoulda, coulda. You take what you can get and move on. There's never the perfect trade. That's why taking partial positions is always important.
Yeah. I asked my employees, we have a whole, what do we got to do to grow revenues and hit our goals to get to a $10 million a year company? And so they said, so the only fucking idea these bozos came up with was maybe you should stop swearing so much in the chat room. Oh, hey, yeah. Why didn't I think of that? Shit.
I mean,
when you day trade, you want to swear all the time, or shoot yourself in the head. I mean, it's just the nature of the game. Yeah. I'm suicidal like 90% of the day.
I mean, some people, like, we got an email the other day to Robert, and it was a guy that was a former Tim Sykes student, and he was like, hey, man, I'm here from Tim Sykes, and I just want to say I really like what you guys are doing. I loved the day in the chat room, and also I was super pumped that I could say fuck and not get booted from the chat room, which was hilarious. And it's if you have a problem with that, then I really don't care. I mean, I'm sorry if that offends you, but I'm just going to be who I am, and that's who I am. If you have a problem with that, sorry, I don't know what to tell you. We're here to make money and trade stocks. And so, hand in hand with stocks, when you think of the stock market, go watch Wolf of Wall Street. Not that that's what my life is like, but that's, what a lot of people associate with that. So I'm sitting here when I trade, I'm usually in like sweatpants and, just a regular t-shirt or something. I'm not in a business suit. This is not a professional location. I'm just doing whatever in sweatpants. So
we look like bums all the time. I mean, good looking. Hey, this is a really cool question from Leo. Leo is one of my students. He asked probably the hardest questions in real details. But he says, how do you train yourself to cut your losses so quickly?
I mean,
How do you do that? Because it's in all our nature to hold on to stuff and hope they go back up. The hopium. Pull and pray. We've all done the pull and pray. Every Saturday night, baby.
It's experience is what it is. I've been trading for 10 years, and it was, like I said, what was my final step, or how did I finally become a profitable trader, which was after about 3 years of just understanding that the only reason why I was losing money in the stock market, and the only reason why I was failing, is that I was allowing those losses to happen. So if you see those losses happen, you're taking these fat losses, that's going to be a learning experience in your head. And you're like, shit, I can't allow that to happen, because if that happens, then you got this huge hole to dig yourself out of. And so it just finally came to my realization that I have to sell this stock, because I can't put myself into that. And if you put yourself into a hole, that totally screws up with your head even more, because then you're trying to get out of this hole and you can't even focus on making the right decisions because you're so adamant about trying to make that money back that you lost. So for me, I personally developed, or I don't know, I just became, a normalcy to me to not allow the hole to happen. Sometimes it happens. The only times it happens for me now is if I get caught in a halted stock, which has happened several times this year actually, or some kind of random bad news overnight. So it's basically, the only way that happens to me is if it's a situation that I cannot control. But basically, yeah, you just got to suffer those losses and realize that this is what happens, and you're going to get yourself in a hole, and it sucks being in that hole. So I try to avoid that hole at all costs, no matter what.
Word. So, Leo, if you're having trouble doing this, do this. This is the easiest way to train yourself to cut your losses easily. For your next 30 trades, no matter what you do and what you buy, put a 2-cent stop loss under right after you buy. What'll happen is your next 30 trades, you'll get stopped out 30 times. And then you'll learn your lesson to stop out quickly. You get used to it. Because you just stopped out 30 times in a row for 2 cents, you'll probably lose a couple $100. But now your brain has been trained to take a small loss. So just do it for the next 30 trades. No matter what. Whatever it is that you buy, whether you think it's a home run or not, don't even worry about it. Just put your stop loss 2 cents below where you buy it. You're going to stop out no matter what when you have a 2-cent stop. And you'll never feel shy about using stop loss again. You'll be used to it. Just a couple more, Cam. I know we're getting late. Well, not for you. You're at 7 o'clock. But for someone transitioning from a daytime job to full-time trader, when do you think it's the right time to fully commit to one and get out of the other?
That is a great question.
That's a good question.
I mean, really what it comes down to is your own level of confidence and if you're actually making money. So if you're making money and you're confident that you know what you're doing and that you can sustain yourself as a trader, and you're, finding yourself, it's kind of like me in school. I found myself not even going to class by my senior year, and I was just focusing on trading at that point. So it's when you're finding yourself maybe more time focusing on trading, and it's actually making you money as opposed to something else. Like I dropped out of school my senior year. I didn't finish. But, if you're making money and you're spending a lot of time trading and it's doing better than your actual job, or maybe comparable, and you hate your job, I think it's mainly just about having confidence in yourself that you have a firm grasp on trading and you're confident that this is something that you can actually do successfully. If you're questionable and you're not making money, obviously you're not going to do it. But if you're in a situation where you are making money and you're confident in yourself, then maybe that's time when you should make that leap of faith.
100%, Leandro. When you wake up and you've got only one thing on your mind besides your morning wood, that means you're a trader. And when you go to sleep and the only thing that you have on your mind is stocks, you're a trader. I've been trading 14 years now. I've made over 100,000 day trades. And I can tell you for a fact that there are a lot of, almost every single night, I have some weird dream about stocks. Somewhere in there. They're not all about stocks, but somewhere, stocks, charts, something pops up in it. I don't know about you, Cameron, but I fucking think about it all the time. I have so many dreams every week, like I'm in this stock and it's like $2, and I wake up and it got bought up for like $700, and I end up making $100 million. Like that shit happens every fucking week. I'm a trader. It's the only thing I think about and dream about. If you think about trading when you're dropping a bomb, you're a trader.
No, I talk in my first training course. I talk about having the trader dreams. It's just part of being a trader. Once you're like into it, you're obsessed, and you do literally have the dreams where you're either sleeping and you're in a stock overnight and you're like dreaming about the stock either eating shit or you're dreaming about the stock blowing up on some random news. So it's either stocks either blowing up on news or eating shit on news. They both have, you have them both, but you definitely have those dreams once you start trading very actively.
Very true. Now this is a good question, but I think it's been blown up a little bit too much. I think the media has probably blown this up. A lot of people say. I've got a few questions. Camilo, my man from Colombia, he's mentioning. Do you think it's more difficult to swing because of all the market manipulations with algos? And I'll say that I think because we don't trade Apple or General Electric or Bank of America, we probably don't run into algos as much. I mean, we run into a different breed of people that probably are manipulating like other chat rooms or, pumps from PRs. So there's always that type of manipulation that goes on. But I don't feel like we run into the computers necessarily all the time. Unless you're trading Sirius satellite radio or some really thick stock.
Yeah.
Which I don't trade.
No, I think it's I don't think we run into algorithmic information, but I'll look at Twitter and see what other chat rooms are pumping something. So I'll see, manipulation on that level. But yeah, I think swing trading is a lot more difficult than it used to be, just because I think a lot more people are day trading now. A lot more people are interested in it, and the intraday swings are much bigger. So before, I could buy into a stock and just, kind of sit there and watch it slowly, gradually go up over a week. Now I'll buy into a stock and it's freaking going haywire for, all throughout the hours of the day, where I'm up $5,000 and all of a sudden next, I'm break even or losing money. And then if I, maybe stop out of it, next thing you know, it's back up. So it's a lot more difficult, I feel, to swing trade these days because there's so much intraday volatility. And that's why I've been, gradually moving towards day trading a lot, is because a lot of times, if I don't take advantage of those quick opportunities, then I give up that profit opportunity. So swing trading definitely has become a little bit more difficult, but my biggest wins definitely do come from swing trading because I allow that patience on a large position to actually play out the pattern.
Word. I agree. Just one more. Does what we do, like your Fous 4 patterns, does it apply to futures or other stuff? I think what we do kind of applies to everything. I got one of my students, he trades futures right now for the additional leverage and stuff, and he's like, yeah, dude, it's flags and flat tops and all this stuff. It all applies.
Yeah, I mean, these kind of patterns can apply to anything. Anything you can trade, it can apply to. Do I trade everything? No, I've never traded an option in my life. I've never traded a future in my life. I've only traded small cap and larger cap stocks as of late. But these kind of patterns can really apply to anything.
Cool. So I think that is it. Guys, I'm going to put, Cameron, do you have an email that if somebody has questions, they can email you?
Yeah, they can either go to fousalerts.com, and there's a contact us button on the side of the screen, and they can fill out that form. And Robert will get in touch at any time that then they contact us. So just go to fousalerts.com and you'll see the contact us form. There's also a 7 video lesson campaign that'll pop up once you go to that website. You can fill out your email. You'll get 7 free video lessons kind of detailing how I do what I do and just give you a little bit more background about why I trade these stocks and whatnot.
Cool. And guys, I'll just put my email. My email is canal@bullson.ws. The people that were, we have a chat, and then there's like a question and answer tab also. I went through all the people that had the question and answer, but the people that were typing in the chat, it only allows us to go. It only allows me to go back like 2 tabs. So the people that were posting like an hour ago or 2 hours ago in the chat, the questions, we can't see them. So you can email me or Cameron, really anything that you want, and we'll get back to you. I apologize. It's just we can't scroll through the chats that long. We won't be able to see it. But you guys email me or call me or whatever. It doesn't matter. And whatever I missed, I'll make sure to pick up, and I'm sure Cameron will do the same. Cameron, my man, thank you. Let me ask you one last question. Do you think that we're going to get arrested in Costa Rica?
I hope so. Because that would make it interesting.
That was nearly last time, and it's not as fun as you would think. Now, the cool thing with Costa Rica is they don't have a standing army or military, so you can really, they're a peaceful people.
Yeah, no, they're so chill down there, so I think you can get away with a decent amount of stuff down there. So it'll definitely be an interesting trip. I'm definitely looking forward to it. That's next week. 1 week from today, we're bouncing out.
1 week from today, man. Hey, they got this huge bridge that's like 400 feet tall, and you can bungee jump off of it.
Oh, God. I'm a little scared of that, but maybe.
I hate heights, but I always do.
I should maybe do that. I bring in my GoPro and everything, so that would make for an epic GoPro video.
Let's do it. Not in tandem, though. That'll be great. All right, my man. Have fun, and I will see you in a week. Shit.
All right. Hell yeah, dude. I'm stoked. Thanks to everyone that showed up.
Yeah, thank you for putting up with us for 2.5 hours. Cameron, you got any last words? Speak now.
Damn, has it been 2.5 hours? Yeah, I guess it has been.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just, I want to thank everyone that showed up. Sorry, I can't even see the chat, so I haven't been able to answer, like, any kind of questions that you've been asking there. But, no matter what route you take in the stock market, first priority is to educate yourself on trading before you actually waste your money figuring it out, because that's what I did. That's what Kunal did. It took me 3 years to make money. It took Kunal 5 years to make money, so it takes a lot of time if you just try to wing it. So, both me and Kunal offer training services. There's a lot of other training services out there. We're not saying that ours is the best or somebody else is the best. All we're saying, no matter what route you take, go through some sort of training program before you actually start making money, because it's going to save you a shit time and a shitload of money over the long haul. So that's basically the most important thing I could tell anybody that's interested in trading here.
All right, cool. Hey, by the way, I forgot one last question. Somebody asked me about a stock, ATEN. That thing looks kind of hot. Now, the thing is, it's obviously a big turd since it fell down from $20 or whatever.
Yeah, that's all right. It could make a move up here.
But you know what? As long as you keep your stop loss under, like, just give it a little room, 390. You might get a run to $5. Who knows? I mean, it's an obvious turd. This stock is a piece of shit. That's why
any stock that has this kind of movement, there's a reason why it's down there. It's because it's a piece of shit or somebody's bashing or terrible earnings. But at the same time,
you might get a dollar move.
Cause a squeeze on it and ramp it up. So yeah, there's definitely potential on it.
There's a dollar move in there for 20-30 cents risk essentially.
Yeah.
If it works.
Yeah.
All right, Cam. I'll see you next week, brother. Thank you. We might have to do this again. I never have repeat customers on, but this is pretty fun.
Yeah. No, that was fun, dude. It was a great time, lots of good conversation, and just, a good time bullshitting with you, man.
All right, peace, bro. I'll see you soon. I'll see you in G-Chat tomorrow.
Yeah. Later, man.